New week, new Music Friday, new video. Let's get into it. 4 projects that I wanted to start off with here today. First one, going to be my favorite from last week that came out on Friday. Davido's 5 album, also his 5th album. To me, a perfect representation of Afro beats in its like kind of bag right now. His beats, he's picking different kinds. He's, having some similarity when it comes to his cadence and everything that he's doing on the album itself. But when it comes to enjoyment, when it comes to these Afro beats music coming out of Nigeria right now, to me, there's sometimes where I'm absolutely floored by them. And obviously you have a huge variety coming out of it. Thames, completely different from Rema, completely different from Davido, and then there's plenty more that are coming out there. Like I said, this is a huge burgeoning scene. It's something that I've been saying for a long time to my friends. Lagos, Nigeria is going to be maybe like what Atlanta was in the 2010s. Not quite yet in the 2020s, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the 2030s hip-hop like kind of fully runs its course after half a century or whatever that will be, and Afro beats ends up taking it in. So front to back, there's I think a Titanium song on there that just didn't match the rhythm of the rest of the album, but overall Davido's 5 complete with no misses front to back. You start that, especially it's getting cold in Colorado right now, but as the weather starts to warm up, that'll definitely be what we're rolling with. Next up, also in the hip-hop realm, but really more of a classic hip-hop sound, at least for me and our generation, Kush and Orange Juice 2 by Wiz Khalifa. I have actually loved a lot of music from Wiz Khalifa over the last few years. Never really a single project that I'm, in the last like 5 years, I would say, since Rolling Papers 2 probably. No single project that I would be like hanging my hat on, thinking, putting that project up there with anything else that's coming out around the time. But I do think he's got some songs that have been kind of overlooked. He had that like remix of the Empire of the Sun song. He had We Don't Go to Nightclubs Anymore, which was like, honestly, this is still one of my favorite late night drive songs. The saxophone that he puts in there and just the way he uses his voice is brilliant. And then on Kush and Orange Juice 2, my expectations for the album as a whole, very low coming into it, but he just like captured it perfectly. I think he just sent me right back to 2009, 2010, 2011. Made me think I was, getting off of high school. I was going to go meet up with my boys. We're all going to roll some Percy's and drive around town with the windows down or drive around town with the windows up, considering the time of year. But Wiz is just one of those people who, he really captured the sound. I love that he hasn't changed. I love that he's still his authentic self. Does it mean the music's become a little monotonous and repetitive? Yeah, but it's like Future, When he brings out that random, for Wiz Khalifa, We Don't Go to Nightclubs Anymore, it's like the same thing for Future when he pulls out those like really heartbreaking songs like Coding Crazy or kind of his crooning on his love songs. It's welcomed, but also I'll take kind of as much of his normal thing as he's going to give us. Front to back, Kush and Orange Juice 2 gives you exactly that. You're getting the classic Wiz vibe that you want. You're getting the stoner, you're getting the smoking, you're getting the braggadocio, you're getting the, I'm going to be on my bullshit kind of thing for the whole time. Is it too many tracks? Yeah, I think it's upwards of 20. I think it's somewhere between 18 or 19 and 23, 24. I don't think he needed all of them. I think the first half of the album goes like really well, and then the last like 7 or 8 songs, none of them are bad, but I think I was just like kind of so over it at that point that it starts to get to something where I'm like, okay, cool, let's kind of move on to the next thing here. But nevertheless, absolutely loved it. Wouldn't tell anybody not to go listen to it. I would say, again, one of those albums to listen to while you're doing something, because then it'll just kind of carry the vibe the whole day, and you don't have to think about it. Moving into probably my favorite part of New Music Friday the entire day. Did I love the Wiz Khalifa album? Yes. Did I love the Davido album? Yes. But chlothegod, pay attention to this girl. I have not, I get struck by like artists, I would say like probably once a month, maybe a little less, like once every other month, but every year there's 6 to 10 artists who I've never heard of before. I discover on New Music Friday, and then they become like one of my favorite artists. Doechii was one of those. Celeste was one of those. David D4VD, that was one of those too. This chlothegod girl, there is like something super cool about her. There's something so artistic about her music videos. She's got like 19,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're one of those people who likes to be ahead of a wave, you can jump on right now. the way I've like been contextualizing her and like kind of unfairly categorizing, but it's just the way our brains work, right? We got to group people together. She is like, oh,
12 seconds later.
she is like Jessie Reyez mixed with Steve Lacy and then sprinkled in with a little Jack K's on top of that. And I know that's like super like kind of weird sounding, but she has like the honesty, the authenticity, the transparency that I feel with Jessie Reyez mixed with the versatility and like the one song flowing into the next song, but also the two sounding nothing alike that I kind of feel like with Steve Lacy. Mercury's like my favorite song by Steve Lacy, and every time I'm just like surprised it's on the same album as some of the other hits. And then Jack K's, who's a pretty underground alternative artist that my little brother put me onto, who has like some songs that I absolutely love. But you put all three of those together, and you just get this like authentic, feminine sound that has so much like strength behind it, and then this like alternative. Like you'll listen to a song and for the first 2 minutes you think you like kind of get it, but you still really like it, and then it'll drop with like a huge drum solo or an electric guitar or just something you like don't see coming. So chlothegod, I feel different every day. The album itself didn't come out on Friday, but the deluxe did come out last Monday. So since she's brand new to me, I'm including her here on the New Music Friday. Definitely worth checking out. And then the last project that I had that I really just enjoyed for like a completely different reason, Michael Markagi, I think that's right. And it's his project. It's an EP. It's called Midwest Kid. I think, it matches in perfect. Like in Colorado, it's still cold. We just had a random cold front like come through and snow. It snowed several inches. And so I think just like that vibe, it's that singer-songwriter-y, it's that Noah Khan. There's a lot of people who do it. Each sound is like a little bit different. Each perspective and from wherever they're coming from, the country, a little bit different. They're all taken from Bon Iver. They're all taken from like the old singer-songwriters that we've all like known for a long time who have been doing this for a while. But like I said, they each have their own. And Midwest Kid, his project as a whole, there was like one or two that I really loved, but the whole thing was cohesive enough for all of it to be doing something that I really enjoyed. So those are the four projects out of everything that came out. I would at least check out those. If Afrobeats is something you want, Davido's got you. If classic mixtape, online era hip-hop is something you want, then that Cushion Orange Juice 2 is going to be great. That alternative soul mixed with R&B, chlothegod's going to have you on there. And then that, standard singer-songwriter-y, relatable lyrics, pretty guitars, sonically very pleasant, Midwest Kid, Michael Markagi, they got you. All right, moving into the singles that came out this week that I really enjoyed. There were several. I would say most of the week I actually found more singles, whereas last week I found a couple projects that I really loved. But the first one would definitely be Jon Bellion with Horoscope with Pharrell Williams. Anytime it says featuring Pharrell Williams, I'm always waiting for the dun 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 dun, that 4 count at the beginning for his tag. But for this one, he actually puts on some vocals for it. And Jon Bellion, I think, he's one of those artists that I can never quite like kind of get all the way behind, just because I think it just hasn't found me at the right time or anything like that. But these two together put together something really cool. Looks like Jon Bellion's putting out for an album release. I don't even know if I say his name right. That's like how little interaction I have with his music. But with that being said, he's one of those people who I'll definitely check it out. I'll almost always have a couple songs. Looks like this is going to be one of them. Next, we had Omar Courtz and Bad Gal. Their song Comernos came out. Listen, it's one of those like urbano Latino songs that I feel like, since obviously Spanish, I speak enough of it. I think the idea of the lyrics not being like in my native language makes it to where it starts to sometimes sound the same. But that's where it comes on, like the artist to one have some cadences and some rhythms that are really unique to themselves. And then also for them to have, sounds and beats and guest appearances, I think, that really like stick out. I think that's what makes Bad Bunny like so universal. Obviously, there's J Balvin, there's Omar Cortez, there's a lot of people coming out of the Hispanic. There's, 24 countries or something speaking Spanish, so there's plenty of artists doing it. But I think the ones where you really start to see them set themselves apart are, like I said, that kind of difference in cadence, that difference in rhythms, the guest appearances that they have, and then the beats. So there's a couple here from this New Music Friday, and yeah, Omar Cortez was definitely one of them with Bad Gal for Comernos, and it's going to be summertime. There's just going to be a lot more of this music coming out, and anytime, just throw these songs on your playlist. You don't have to listen to them, I promise. They're all going to fit. This next one of the singles, I think this may have honestly been my favorite moment. It's a band I never heard of. They might be normal to you. It was kind of an alternative day, which I absolutely did not see coming. But I knew the Afro beats was coming with Davido. But Fontaine's DC, Before You I Just Forget. They had a deluxe that came out. I'm pretty sure this was the song that stuck out to me the most on the new project. The album itself, I think, is from last year. They're an Irish alternative band, and they sound like so UK. Like every part of their music just sounds like it's from the UK and like it's screaming UK. But this song in particular, I really don't know what it is with alternative. I'm sure you've noticed I don't know. I can't always put my finger on it. There's just something about maybe the timing that I'm listening to it or something that's coming out. But this alternative sound, it was just like kind of brilliant. I just really loved the way it all came together. It kept me, it was like it started playing and I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. Let's see if this keeps up. And it was one of those moments where like from the start when it piqued my interest to the end, they had my attention the whole time. I was never disappointed. Before You, I Just Forget, Fontaine's DC. Absolutely check it out. Perfect. And I talked all about the Urbano Latino artists, and I didn't even talk about Las Urbanas Latinas, the women who are obviously carrying this. We got Carol G, or Carol, whatever her name is, Becky G, and then it's honestly, between Kali Uchis and all the other women, honestly, it's kind of like a toss-up of who's more exciting coming out of the Latino world between the females and the males. But Kenya OS and Anita just put out a song, N4, N4, I don't know which one they were going for, pero I think this song like comes out, again, it's just getting to that moment where like these, they're all in Spanish. I'm not good enough at Spanish to like really dive into these lyrics and understand like what they're saying, so it's kind of puras vibras, it's just the vibes. And so these two getting together, I don't know that I've had any run-ins with either one of them, but it came across on my browse, and as I was playing, as it was going through all the singles, it came on. It got my shoulders moving, got me like kind of interested in them, looking at the artwork and everything, and then just kind of deciding whether or not I'm going to dive into the artist specifically. I think Anita would be the one that I start with, just because not Anita Baker, but there's some Anita in there that like kind of rings true to me. But again, it's on the Summer Vibes playlist, and just throw it on there if you're having people over. If it's going to be background music, whatever that is, it will work. And I believe this is the last one, but never expect it to be the last Spanish-speaking song that I talk about. It's always going to be some of it. It's classified as música mexicana, so a little bit less of the like, kind of rapping hip-hop, a little bit more of the old school like trumpets and the guitars. And again, I'm not going to act like an expert in Spanish-speaking music, but there's a clear difference between, the Bad Bunny, the J Balvins, and, the Ivan Corneros and some of those other guys who are doing some, Danny Lux, who's doing a little bit different kind of music. This definitely fits in, I think, to those like kind of slower, more classic sounds. Not even slower, just more classic sounding, more horns, more orchestration, less beats, less 808s and things like that. But Xavi and Neton Vega, Hija de Papi, just like I said, I think it's just in that time of year where this felt like a little still braggadocious, again, without breaking too much into the lyrics, but it just felt like something that was perfect for like the morning time on a really sunny, hot day. And I just really enjoyed it. It's getting to be this time of the year where I might not know exactly why the music fits, but it just fits. So just trust me on that, and give it a peek. Hija de Papi, not son of father, daughter of father, father's daughter, father's daughter. Let's go with that. And then I was 3 weeks ago years old when I found out that the dog, the mutt. I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. Leon Thomas, same dude from Victorious. If you didn't know, there's your fun fact of the day. But he came out with a song with Haley. This dude is just, I think he's just firing on all cylinders. I hope he's like coming out with a bunch of music. Seems like he's working hard. Seems like he's putting out just about as much as he can possibly get to. But Rather Be Alone, Leon Thomas, and Haley. Haley comes in at the end, does her thing. Her voice is great. I thought it was really cool. But Leon Thomas, just anytime I hear this guy on a song, it feels like it's an automatic hit. Probably one of those, like, kind of, again, Steve Lacy's gonna take the crown of this R&B king from like Daniel Caesar and everything. Everybody's like kind of temporary, while The Weeknd, I don't know if he's R&B or pop, but while he and Frank kind of always like just do their thing and kind of tease us for every 5 years or whatever that Frank Ocean's on his own schedule for. I think Leon Thomas is going to be this guy in R&B. Brent Faiyaz was in there as well at some point, who kind of like holds on to that crown for a year or a year and a half. His song Mutt, I think, has been going for like 8 months or a year. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if Leon Thomas, the rest of 2025 really like locks in, gives us an album at the end, and I hope like gets some cool guest appearances, because I think he could do some cool things with not just rappers, but like kind of soul singers, singer-songwriters, people like that. So let's see what he's doing. But Rather Be Alone, Leon Thomas, and Haley, probably just the best like song I heard of New Music Friday when it comes to Leon Thomas's part and what he's able to do on it. So check it out. Next, we have a pretty cool moment. This like illuminates a lot of how my New Music Fridays go. I always mess this up. Biba Doobie. Pretty sure that's her name. The girl who was on that song with Pofu and everything a while back that like super shot her into stardom, as she deserves. She's super talented. That song does not at all like encapsulate what she's able to bring to music, but released a Triple J like a version for Sway. I know you're like, who sings Sway? Bic Runga. Never heard of. Bic Runga released this song, Sway, back in, I think, either the 80s or 90s. Like, it's that old. Never heard of her. And it's one of those moments where Biba Doobie definitely, like, does her thing on it. But I am really glad I found the old Bic Runga album as well. There was the song Sway that I really enjoyed, and then there was also her other song Here that I can't remember the name for, but found her album. Really, like, the Biba Doobie like does a pretty good just straight up cover of it, and then when it comes to covers, I'll default to the OG version unless there's something really different that like kind of brought me in. And with this one, well, again, she did her thing. I think the Bic Runga song was like a really cool moment. It goes in really well with the rest of that album. So again, is this album 20, 30 years old? Yep, but it's brand new to me, so including it on the New Music Friday, and that's just how these things go. If I see something that's a version of something, I'm like, well, I gotta compare it to the original, and then I get 2 new songs in one day. Lucky me. Next up, something that just shows you never know what you're gonna get on New Music Friday. Never would have gone looking for it, never would have heard of it. Barry Can't Swim and O'Flynn released Kipton. Looks like I truly don't know if Barry Can't Swim and O'Flynn are 2 different artists or the same group or one person. Could not tell you. With alter egos, it could be any of those. But this Kipton, super cool. I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's all instrumental. So there's nothing like no words to dissect, nothing like that. Pure vibes, pure. You either get it or you don't. I feel like I got it. I'm definitely taking a look and waiting. I think the album's on the way. If not, I just didn't have time to get to the rest of the album. But either way, go check Kipton, Barry Can't Swim, and O'Flynn. Like I said, I think the album's coming on the way. And this song, whatever it is, if that's what they're doing, if that's like their normal thing to just have instrumentals and no words, they should be collaborating with artists way more consistently. It was beautiful. It was, it matched. It just like filled the room while also leaving space for your own thoughts and your own like kind of interactions with the music. I don't know how to like really describe all of that besides that, but Kipton, Barry Can't Swim, and O'Flynn, worth the time, I promise. Rounding it out for our New Music Monday, New Music Friday. I haven't decided what the segment's going to be called. Nobody's going to watch this part anyway for a little while till I establish myself. But Mozzie, Intrusive Thoughts, album as a whole, I thought was really cool. He's one of, I think he's West Coast, but he's like kind of captured that West Coast sound better than just about anybody else in the game right now that I can think of. And, you know, not necessarily the best, but he's in that like top 5 for at least the sonics and the beats that he's picking. I think his flow is really original. I feel like he's one of those artists where when he starts rapping, it doesn't take very long for me to be like, that's Mozzie. Do I always love his songs? No, he's not like that kind of artist for me. Again, I could probably dig into him and like get it a little bit more. But project as a whole, I thought was stellar. I thought it was great. Not a lot of times when I got bored or wanted to skip songs, anything like that. But his song, especially with Polo G, this is the one I really wanted to highlight. I thought it was super great, and at the second it started, I was hooked. Made me go listen to the whole album. Wasn't disappointed with the whole album. Definitely put it in something to listen to. I'd start with those 4 at the beginning that I had, and then if you get through all that, get through everything else that I mentioned here, put some in the playlist, then go back to this. Mozzie, super cool. Highlighting the song with Polo G. That's like a no-brainer. Definitely include it. And then other than that, I'll catch you next week. I think I'm liking putting these out on Mondays. That way I have the whole weekend to like sit with these and then put them out here. Like I said, I just want to be popping in these like kind of no thinking, no research, off the top of the head videos. That way you guys get a little bit more of an idea about who I am, what kind of music I listen to, how I find new music. You know, from Sonny Ode, like a 60s African master guitarist, to Selena, and then obviously Future, Kendrick, anything Mac Miller in between. It goes all over the place, Bon Iver. So I recognize that it's important to me, at least, to be sharing how I come to all this, how I find all of it. And then, like I said, I don't really talk about music I don't like. There's too much music that I do like, or at the very least I find interesting. So always let me know if there's a drop you want me to cover on these new music Mondays. I think that's what we're going to go with. And then other than that, I'll catch you later in the week. But until then, keep doing my best. You keep doing your best. And as always, find the music. Peace and love.